Hello and welcome to what is the beginning of the finale of the Stronghold Crusader AI tournament. So, we have gone through all 16 AIs in a long tournament, and we have finally arrived at the final matchup. It is none other than Emperor Frederick himself against Saladin the Wise. So let us begin this matchup, and we will see these two economic giants face off. So here we go. The match is beginning. 1,800. Let's see.
Your popularity
Marketplace right out of the gate from Emperor Frederick. Same with Saladin, getting that mercenary post up early on. Very good for using all those Arabian units. And Saladin is always very fast at filling in the wall. That I mean, enclosing his keep. And very interesting placement of woodcutters' huts here. Find it very interesting. Emperor Frederick already laying out where he wants the towers to be. The woodcutting is already starting. And here we see a bunch of swordsmen sitting about. Not quite ready for the fight yet, but I'm certain that at some point, someone will be seeing quite a bit of action, depending on who comes out on top. Let's take a look at early order of merit. It's a switch around. It's a toss-up. Even Stevens. Both sides are doing relatively well. They're both making great progress at walling off their keeps. And I see Emperor Frederick is using the classic little forward keep here. Separate, well, I can't really call it a keep, a forward fortress here. And a big advantage of it is that if it falls, it does not affect the overall integrity of the enclosement of the keep itself, the envelopment. Well, maybe envelopment has too negative a context in this sense. The envelation, how about that? See, not a lot of money here, but of course it's early on in the game. Both of them probably have used up most of their money gathering resources. Sorry, that's just moving my chair.
We are under attack.
Keenly observing. The archers did go onto the tower. And they are currently engaging Saladin's troops.
People are coming to the castle.
Emperor Frederick usually doesn't attack early on, so Saladin might have that bonus money down. But this will give Emperor Frederick the time he needs to build up his fortress, to get all his towers up, and perhaps to even double up on the garrison on the towers. Well, maybe that's stretching it a bit, but I do expect to see some knights, perhaps. It looks like not many actually made it up. Perhaps they were busy killing each other. Saladin building a castle with 3 gates, which of course is very useful because if one gets blocked up, the other one may still remain open depending on the proximity of any opponent. So no troops on these towers, but this early in the game, any attack wouldn't really worry about these towers. However, if swordsmen do end up getting through,
People are
protecting
leaving the castle.
this area may become a bit difficult if you don't have anyone manning the walls. As this is where the gatehouse is, and if the gatehouse is closed, then the economy is isolated, which is not something that's very good in this game. It certainly is not an occurrence that one would want, and it looks like Emperor Frederick is ahead in all categories.
We are under attack.
But we won't know
People
how
are coming to the castle.
that will end up once I get taken out of the picture, because Saladin is very good at raiding. There's some swordsmen moving in. Not actually moving into battle, though. No major garrisons on the farms, so no worries there. Question is, what are they heading for? Emperor Frederick, despite having quite a bit of money, is actually selling money and stone. He's actually selling stone instead of building his castle. He's really playing on curve, as some would call it. Really getting the most
are leaving the castle.
of his economy. But once he starts digging the moat, that's the point when Saladin has to get worried. Well, not really. Saladin has a missile advantage, so and also has plenty of moat digging troops, so it's not going to be that much of a problem, but it still is going to be an issue to overcome, and we are seeing the first stables up. Not really seeing any knights. Maybe I may have missed one. Or maybe that horse just spawned in. But suddenly, a lot of money went missing, and we are seeing a couple of knights come out.
We are under attack.
Emperor Frederick still holding a solid advantage. At this rate, Emperor Frederick may end up attacking first. Let me just check to make sure that AI hasn't caught any snags or anything. Okay, looks fine to me.
People are coming to the castle.
Doesn't look like there's any major problems here. I intentionally designed this map to be relatively balanced. Make sure that all the resources are appropriate distances away. So there shouldn't really be any problem. And also gave them plenty of room to build. Ooh, the swordsmen were actually attacking by the looks of it. He's really dealing some damage there. But at this point, it's not that type of damage that one would really want to deal.
People are leaving.
The knights are already on the move. Are they patrolling? Looks like they might be.
People are coming to the castle.
Catapults are already moving forward. Meanwhile, Saladin hasn't really filled in his castle with buildings yet. And it looks like Emperor Frederick is almost done doing that. So it may very well be that Emperor Frederick has an early game advantage here, really getting up faster. Saladin only with 19 troops.
You are the third greatest lord.
Yes, I'm very well aware that I am the third greatest lord, but we are seeing the mill is active, the bakeries are active, so the AI certainly isn't economically damaged in any way. It just happens that he just wasn't as efficient in this environment by the looks of it. For Frederick has quite a bit of money in the bank. And may attack first. Yeah, I think that's almost certain at this point. Saladin has increased his troop numbers, but we're not really seeing it. Ah, I see how it is. Emperor Frederick is gaining a map advantage. He's gaining control of this region, which is economically damaging Saladin. Saladin will strike back, but because Saladin is behind in the game, he's at a disadvantage economically, and therefore will not be able to recuperate his losses as well as the Emperor. But on another note, what if the Emperor had actually made it into the Crusade all the way and had actually battled against Saladin? That would have been an interesting alternate history story. Oops, dropped my microphone. But we are seeing that Saladin has taken over this little region here. And it will be difficult to take it back, as the Emperor does not use mounted archers, which would make it significantly easier, which means all the archers that come in to attack
are leaving the castle.
will have to walk or shoot, which means while they're coming in, it gives Saladin at least one volley off on them, which of course gives them a minor disadvantage in the battle. But Saladin does use swordsmen, who are pretty tough, and in this situation they may very well be at a significant advantage here. Although this one was relatively weakened because Smart AI was actually focusing fire, which is pretty good, but perhaps focusing on the frontmost... Well, actually, I don't know. Taking out a flank may actually be better because it gives the archers defending on the flank more time to fire shots. So I guess there is a strategy behind that does make sense, although I do believe that the AI certainly wasn't programmed to deal with specifics of that manner. The Emperor certainly looks like he's ready to attack. He hasn't started digging the moat yet, but I'm pretty sure he's about to. And here we see some swordsmen, perhaps moving out to launch another attack.
We are under attack.
Saladin still does not have
to the castle.
money saved up, but his troop count is starting to rival the Emperor's. So he certainly is catching up, and look at that, the castle has filled out a little bit more, although there are still plenty of empty spaces.
A message from Emperor Frederick. Today we fight. Today little thin.
Very good. Very good. The Emperor is attacking, although I question the positioning of these troops. It does not seem like a very convenient place to put them if you're in the middle of launching an attack. But I guess we'll find out. Saladin does not look like he's ready to attack, although he is catching up, so he may be about to.
Lord.
But if the Emperor doesn't take me down in this attack, it will mean that Saladin will probably get the win, which may boost his economy to a point where he's able to keep up with the Emperor. So where's the attack? There it is. Here it comes. Saladin's still not moving out yet. At this point, if he chooses to attack, he will not get there in time, as the Emperor's swordsmen are already in motion. Well, I guess from this point... Oh yeah, because there's two stages. There's the setup, and then there's the actual attack. And the Emperor is moving on to the actual attack, while Saladin still has not begun the setup. And I am certain that that many swordsmen will indeed be enough to take me out. So let's take a quick look here at how things are going. And things aren't going very well, are they? Well, I guess we'll see. And here they come. Moving in. Climbing up the hillside. Saladin's still not in motion.
We are under attack.
And there's only one place to attack, so they're all moving towards it. Normally, most of them would split off to destroy other buildings, but
Lord is under attack.
that's not happening today.
Message from Emperor Frederick.
The Emperor regrets your demands. You should never have entered the contest.
And there you go. There you have it. Now the real war begins. As soon as I die, all the horse archers now come piling out, as now they have valid targets to attack, since the player they're targeting, or the character they're targeting, is the Emperor, who has buildings. So all these attacks are now moving forward. And the Emperor, unfortunately for him, does not have an efficient method of dealing with this kind of attack. Here comes the knight. How much damage is he taking? About half now. But he may still be able to make it. He got shot down. Haha, ballista. Very powerful. I think that's a great counter to the knights. Fortunately for Saladin there, the engineers were guarded by the archers, which prevented any attack. Managed to deal some damage there. There are assassins, but I don't think that they're going to be terribly useful. Well, very soon they aren't going to be. Once this moat completes, that will render the assassins temporarily useless. Or situationally useless is probably a better way to put it. Because another situation may arise where they are more useful. Ah, very wise, sending knights out. Assassins are now moving. Perhaps some of them are attempting to destroy some buildings. Just sitting there. Well, it looks like the attack was successful in destroying a few things, but no actual siege itself. No actual siege engines managed to deal any damage, and no one really reached the walls to attack them. So overall, I'd have to say that that siege is a failed siege. And now things are going to become even harder as the moat continues to get produced. And let's take a look at the fortitude of the troops on the walls. They seem to be very well up, although it looks like these guys have taken a couple arrows. They ought to be able to combat quite effectively for several more attacks to come. Now let's take a look at the situation. The Emperor is ahead monetarily and in the order of merit. However, Saladin certainly has the upper hand in manpower right now, and his castle is, by the looks of it, complete. And boy, does it look like a tough nut to crack. Look at that. We've got, holy cannoli, 8 towers, all of which are spread out from the main fortress. So if you destroy a tower, you're not breaching those walls. And hidden behind the towers, you have the gatehouses. And on the towers, you've got all those defensive artillery pieces. So tearing this down is going to be pretty difficult. And you've got fire throwers and a bit of a moat in some places. Yep. This is going to be hard. Hard as nails. And the places where you don't have the moat is where the fire throwers are. Ah, I see. I see the planning here. I see the planning there. Very, very well planned. Some archers getting some shots off on that artillery, but there's still some more engineers. Some more engineers in that crowd, getting ready for battle. 2 catapults, however, have safely made it to the front lines, and they are shooting like there's no tomorrow. And this tower may very well be on its last legs. And there you have it, it's down. But it's only a drop in the bucket. There's a lot of money on Frederick's side, and destroying this part right here, although it is strategically important, it's not really going to offer any direct route into attacking the castle itself. As there is indeed a moat behind it. But it looks like the Emperor is really pressing hard. And there you have it. We saw some fire. But there are some areas where the fire is not very prominent. However, in those areas, you can see that we do have a lot of potential damage coming out there. Although right here, oh, never mind. Yeah, so there definitely was a lot of coverage. However, I just noticed a gap in that coverage, and that is on this side here. The gatehouse is open on one side, which means, well, this area is now at an economic disadvantage. However, two of the gatehouses are closed, so it's not that big of a problem, because one of them is open though. It means that the siege is not actually in effect. However, we did see some heavy wall breaching here, which is something to take note of. It looks like the fortress is heavily damaged already, even though this tower just came back up. And however, it does have a very strong position. Now, Saladin is beginning his second attack. It will commence as soon as the swordsmen are in position. Here come the archers. Some trebuchets attempting to counter the siege engine's construction, but they have failed. However, one of them apparently is not going to get killed. So I guess you could consider that a mild success. Now let's take a look at okay, the moat. Oh, that's just another obstacle right there. The moat is not complete. However, it is effective at this point. Unfortunately, its incompleteness means that the swordsmen are rushing forward to attempt to attack the walls, which is actually bad for the Emperor because the swordsmen can kill a lot of units that are stationed around his parts. Horse archers are moving in. And their attack seems to be mildly effective, but overall ineffective. Now the Emperor, let's take a look at troop counts. The Emperor is not recovering as fast as one might expect, which I find very interesting. Now, let's take a look at the progress of deforestation. It seems to be progressing quite well. Although not as well as some might hope. That's not a good place to attack with the knight. And here we see some archers fight it out. Although they may actually be out of range. I think that's an interesting idea. However, Saladin has quite a few troops invested in controlling this region, which probably lends itself to his economic power right now. However, he's still not considered above the Emperor in success at this point so far. The Emperor's attacks have been reasonably effective. However, what the Emperor really needs is an attack that ruins Saladin's economy, which it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And the reason it doesn't seem like that's going to happen is because Saladin is actually gaining money, which makes it difficult for the Emperor, as Saladin now has a big buffer of money to keep him economically afloat if there is damage. The battle continues as there's a swordsman caught off guard. Off guard? No. Off sides. How about that? Fortunately for the Emperor, the catapults can't always make it in range, especially in this situation where there are archers patrolling in front of Saladin's castle, which make it very difficult for catapults to come into range. Meanwhile, no such thing is occurring at Emperor Frederick's side, which allows this catapult to fire unmolested. Although that may change quite soon, actually. Is he heading in that direction? It doesn't look like he is. Although, if he gets close enough, he didn't get close enough. Look at that, this tower is almost destroyed again. Oh wait, there it goes. It's gone. But it shall soon be rebuilt. Let's take a look at moat. Looks like there's one gap here and another one over here. There's only one archer assigned to digging the moat, so no surprise there that the moat is nowhere near complete at this point. Let's take a look at troops. The Emperor is slowly gathering up more troops, although he is at what seems to be a disadvantage when it comes to map control. It looks like Saladin is very prosperous economically. 8,000 to 20,000. That's a very interesting thing to see. We'll see if the ratio changes as time goes by. But the fight continues. So,
game paused.
I'm going to pause at this point, and we will continue next time. And we'll see a few different things. We'll see if the Emperor can regain more map control and push Saladin out. Can Saladin gain enough strength up here in order to dig the moat and attack the walls themselves? Will one of the two collapse economically? Or perhaps one of them will become so powerful, or perhaps even both of them may become so powerful that it turns out to be a very long game and we'll have to decide the winner without one of them actually getting beaten, which does happen on occasion during the series. So thank you all for watching, and I will be seeing you all next time on Wiltos over and out.